Welcome back to Horoscope TV. It is so fantastic to have you with us again as we look ahead at the celestial weather.
It's great to be here.
We are zooming in on the week of February 2nd to February 8th, 2026. And I have to say, just looking at the charts, looking at all the planetary data we have in front of us, it feels, I don't know, like we're standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down at a really turbulent ocean.
That is a very, very vivid way to put it. And honestly, it's pretty accurate.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. The cosmic weather for this specific week is, it's not calm. Not at all. It's volatile, it's electric, and I think profoundly transformative. We're definitely not looking at a gentle breeze here. We are looking at lightning strike.
Lightning strikes, exactly. And today, we're dedicating this entire analysis to one sign in particular. So if you're listening and you are a Leo, or, if you have a Leo in your life who you're trying to understand, and let's be honest, Leos can be a handful to understand sometimes. This one is for you. We are completely laser focused on the lion today.
The lion is absolutely the protagonist of this week's drama. There's no doubt about it.
So, okay, let's set the scene. For our Leos, this isn't just about the daily grind. It's not like, will I have a good lunch on Tuesday?
Not even close.
We are talking about massive, sudden shifts in public image and career. The astrological data is it's screaming about this. It seems like the headline for Leo this week is just expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected is the classic motto for the planetary energy we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's perfect. The primary driver here is a major, and I mean major, direction change involving the planet Uranus.
Okay.
And for Leo, this is hitting the most visible, the most public part of their chart. This is all about reputation, career, your standing in the world. But before we can get to the fireworks, we have to deal with the fuse.
The fuse. I like that because the week doesn't actually start with a big explosion, does it? It starts with a bit of it feels like a hangover.
Literally and figuratively, yes. We're looking at Monday, February 2nd. The forecast describes this as the echo of the full moon in their sign.
Right.
Now, even though the peak of that full moon might have just passed, the residual energy is still really heavy.
It's that Monday morning feeling, but like times 10. You know that feeling when you wake up and you just feel raw? Like maybe you didn't sleep well or you just feel so emotionally exposed before the caffeine has even had a chance to kick in.
That is precisely it. For a Leo, who is usually projecting this confident, sunny, I've got it all together vibe, this vulnerability is significant. The charts suggest a real feeling of being exposed.
Emotional hangover.
Exactly. You might feel a bit thin-skinned on Monday. And from an astrological perspective, this is actually a crucial setup for what's coming.
How so? I mean, why do we need to feel kind of crummy on a Monday to succeed on a Wednesday? It seems counterintuitive.
Because that vulnerability, it clears the deck, it strips away all the superficial defenses. You have to be a little bit raw to be ready for the reconstruction that Uranus brings later in the week.
Oh, I see.
If you were completely rigid and guarded, that electric shock from Uranus might actually break you. So being a little soft, a little exposed, it actually allows you to adapt. It makes you more flexible.
So if you're a Leo and you're dragging yourself out of bed on February 2nd, feeling like everyone's looking at you and you're just not ready, that's actually part of the plan.
It is absolutely part of the process. My advice would be to lean into it. Don't fight that feeling on Monday. Just acknowledge it. Because as you said, the energy shifts very, very quickly.
Okay, let's get to that shift then. The main event. The charts have this date circled in like bright red ink. February 4th.
February 4th is the pivot point for the entire week. This is the day that Uranus stations direct.
Okay, so let's unpack Uranus direct for anyone listening who might not be, tracking planetary orbits on a daily basis. What does that actually mean for the vibe on the ground?
So when a planet is retrograde, its energy is turned inward. It's all about reflection, reviewing, internal processing, that sort of thing.
Right, going back over old ground.
Exactly. But when it turns direct, all of that energy turns outward. It starts to manifest in the external world. And Uranus is the planet of rebellion, shock, electricity, sudden change. It's been retrograde for months, maybe making Leos feel like their career progress was stalled or that something was just brewing internally.
And on February 4th.
The brakes come off. The engine roars to life.
And for Leo, this isn't happening in some obscure corner of their chart. This is happening in the house of fame and honors.
The 10th house.
Yeah.
The absolute peak of the chart, the most public part. This is your career sector,
Right.
your reputation. So when the planet of shock and awe wakes up in the sector of public image, well,
You get fireworks.
you get major fireworks.
The data we're looking at says, and I'm quoting here, changes you have been waiting for will finally happen. Sounds really promising, but also a little terrifying. Finally
Right.
happen implies a huge release of pressure.
It is a release, a massive one. Think of a champagne cork popping.
Yeah.
That's Uranus going direct. It's
Hmm.
instantaneous. This is not a slow build. This is, you walk into work at 9 a.m., and by 10 a.m., the entire landscape looks different.
Okay, let's talk real world examples. What does this actually look like? We're not just talking about getting a good performance review, are we?
Oh no. Uranus is rarely subtle. A good performance review is more Saturn or Jupiter.
Right.
Uranus is a sudden promotion that comes out of absolutely nowhere. The boss quits, they point at you on their way out and say, "You're in charge now."
Wow.
Or it could be the complete opposite. It could be the sudden gut-level realization that you are done. The impulsive decision to quit your job and pursue something totally radically different.
The classic, I quit, I'm moving to Bali to start a goat farm kind of energy.
It could be.
Yeah.
Maybe not that extreme for everyone, but yes, the impulse to break free from restriction is huge. It could also be a viral moment. A project you've been working on quietly suddenly gets massive public attention.
That's interesting. So what's the key to navigating this?
The key word that comes up in the forecast is innovation. It's flagged specifically. Innovation is the key to success here.
So don't just do the same old thing louder.
Absolutely not. If you try to stick to the status quo on February 4th, you will completely miss the wave. This is about doing something new, something electric. It's about showcasing your uniqueness, what makes you different.
But here's where it gets tricky, right? Because we have this massive career explosion, everyone is suddenly looking at you, you're getting the fame and honors. But there's a pretty big warning here about the ego.
The ego is always the shadow side of Leo. And with Uranus, the energy is inherently chaotic. The tension point is that people are watching. You are so
Or
visible.
through a microscope.
Completely. And if you let that chaos unbalance you, if you let the sudden power go to your head, or if you react explosively to the stress, it will be seen by everyone. There's no hiding.
It's the paradox of the week then. Things are moving at lightning speed, you want to ride that lightning, but you have to somehow stay grounded through it all.
You have to keep your cool. The transits warn, and this is another direct quote, people are watching you, so try to keep your cool even if things are chaotic. That is the essential challenge for Leo this week. Can you hold that high voltage without frying your own circuits?
Wow. That's a huge question. And that leads us perfectly into the next segment because if your career is exploding like that, usually something else in life has to give.
Something's got to give.
And looking at this forecast, it really looks like the give is happening in the relationship department.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
This is where we see the square aspects coming into play.
Okay, square aspects. It sounds so geometrical and rigid. What does it actually mean astrologically?
A square is a 90-degree angle between planets. In astrology, it creates friction. It's a point of tension that demands action because it's uncomfortable. You just can't ignore a square aspect.
It forces your hand.
It forces your hand. And on February 5th, and then again on February 8th, we have a major cosmic conflict.
And the players in this conflict are?
On one side, we have that disruptive Uranus in your career house that we just talked about. On the other side, specifically in the partnership sector, we have Mercury, the planet of communication, and Venus, the planet of love.
And they're squaring off?
They're squaring off against Uranus. It's a cosmic standoff.
So let me see if I can translate this. Your career is going boom, explosion, all this excitement, and your relationship sector is over here saying, hey, what about me? Or maybe, wait a minute, I don't like this new version of you.
That is exactly the dynamic. Leos are going to feel torn. They're going to be pulled between this exciting, liberating career momentum and, well, the demands or the instability of their partners.
The forecast mentions that partners might act unexpectedly, so it's not just the Leo who's acting out.
No, not at all. Uranus shakes up everything it touches. By squaring the partnership sector, it means the partner might be the one to suddenly change the rules. Well, maybe they get jealous of all the new attention you're getting. Maybe they start acting erratic because they sense that you're changing, and it makes them feel insecure. It's not necessarily coming from a bad place,
Yeah.
but it's disruptive.
And the specific advice here is really interesting. Do not try to control others.
That is probably the hardest thing for a Leo to hear sometimes.
Right.
Leos are a fixed sign. They like to manage their kingdom. They like to be in charge. But under a Uranus square, control is a complete illusion. If you try to clamp down on a partner who's acting weirdly, the whole thing will just blow up in your face.
Okay, so let's look at February 8th specifically. This looks like a big one. We have Venus square Uranus. The charts are calling this a classic aspect for a sudden breakup or a sudden beginning.
It's the make or break day, no question. Venus is love, it's your values, it's what you hold dear. Uranus is disruption and freedom. When they clash in a square, stability just goes right out the window.
So, okay, let's break this down. Scenario A. You're in a weak or shaky relationship.
Scenario A is the snap. If the foundation already has cracks in it, the earthquake on February 8th could bring the whole house down. It's the sudden breakup, the I just can't do this anymore, and one of you walks out the door.
That's intense. Okay, but what about scenario B, if you're in a strong relationship?
If the bond is real, it doesn't necessarily mean a breakup, but it likely means a crazy argument,
The blowout.
a total blowout. But, sometimes a blowout is necessary to clear the air. It could also mean a sudden breakthrough. You suddenly decide to elope, or you suddenly decide to completely change the dynamic of your relationship to keep it fresh and exciting.
So it sounds like boredom is the real enemy here.
Boredom is the enemy of Uranus. The data clearly indicates you need excitement, but your partner might be acting erratic. So if you can channel that need for excitement into something fun that you do together, you might just survive it.
But if you let it turn into conflict...
It gets dangerous very quickly.
What about the single Leos listening to this? Are they just sitting back with popcorn, safe from all this drama?
Well, they're safe from the breakup part, but they're walking into a different kind of storm. The attraction patterns for single Leos completely changed this week.
Oh, interesting. Who are they looking for?
The rebel,
Hmm.
the eccentric, the weirdo in the corner with the purple hair and all the radical ideas.
The classic bad boy or bad girl.
Exactly. The forecast warns that you might attract someone who is unstable. It's exciting. It's a total thrill ride. But the advice is to recognize it for what it is.
So enjoy the ride, but maybe don't plan the wedding for next week.
Precisely. It's thrilling, but it's not necessarily husband material or wife material in the traditional sense. Just keep your eyes wide open.
Okay, we've talked about the career explosion and the relationship turbulence. This is a lot. I want to zoom in on the mechanics of how we're supposed to handle all this, specifically communication. Because Mercury is moving around, and there is a definite danger zone marked on the calendar.
February 5th. Mark it down, put a big red X on it. Mercury squares Uranus.
So we have the big career explosion happening on the 4th. Then the very next day, Mercury squares Uranus. This feels like the hangover after the party where you said something you really, really shouldn't have.
It is the classic foot and mouth aspect. Mercury is communication, Uranus is shock. When they square off, your thoughts travel faster than your filter. You just speak before you think. The impulse is overwhelming.
And the forecast specifically mentions communication with business partners going wrong.
This is so critical. You've just had this massive career shift on the 4th. On the 5th, you might be in a meeting to discuss it all. The danger is that you're riding high on adrenaline, feeling yourself, and you say something arrogant.
Right.
Or you misunderstand a key clause in a contract. Or you send that email to reply all that was definitely meant for your best friend.
Oh, the dreaded reply all. That is a Mercury-Uranus disaster just waiting to happen.
It is. The advice is crystal clear. Be very clear. Be calm. Do not let your ego drive the conversation. If you feel that surge of, I need to say this right now, just take a breath. Wait 10 minutes.
Pause before you post.
Pause before you post. Pause before you send. Pause before you speak. Because misunderstandings are almost guaranteed.
But then, just a day later, on February 6th, the energy shifts again. Mercury enters Pisces.
And this is a really beautiful welcome shift. Mercury leaves the analytical, logical air signs and just dives into the deep, intuitive waters of Pisces.
What does that do to the Leo brain, which has been on overdrive?
It moves you from logic to intuition, from your head to your gut. Pisces is the sign of the subconscious, the gut feeling, the psychic radar.
The charts say, listen to your gut feelings about people.
And this is your safety net for the instability of the entire week. Your logic might be completely confused because things are moving so fast. But your intuition, especially once Mercury enters Pisces, will be razor sharp.
So if you meet someone new...
Maybe that eccentric romantic interest we mentioned.
Right.
And your gut just says, something is off here. You have to trust that, even if you can't logically explain why.
That's a really interesting balancing act, though. On one hand, the week is chaotic and unstable. On the other, you're being told to trust your gut. How does a Leo differentiate between my anxiety is just high because Uranus is exploding everything, and my intuition is genuinely warning me.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The key is the physical sensation. Anxiety usually feels frantic, it's buzzy, it's all in your head, it's loud.
Okay.
Intuition, especially with Mercury and Pisces, feels deeper, it feels calm. It's a quiet knowing in your stomach or your heart. So if the voice in your head is screaming, it's probably anxiety. If it's a whisper that just won't go away, that's your intuition.
The whisper versus the scream. That's a great distinction. Okay, let's talk about resources. We've got the career, the love, the talk. What about the bank account?
Money and finances, always important.
Usually when we hear career explosion and promotion, we immediately think payday.
And you would be right to think that, eventually. But the forecast has a really nuanced take here. It says, and I'm paraphrasing, if you get a new opportunity, the money might follow, but maybe not right away.
The classic check is in the mail scenario.
Or just that the title changes now, but the salary renegotiation doesn't happen until next quarter. There's a lag. And Leos need to be prepared for that lag. Don't spend the money before you have it.
And there's also this mention of the shared resource sector being triggered when Mercury moves into Pisces. What's that about?
Yes, that's the 8th house. Shared resources means money that isn't just yours. It's debt, taxes, investments, spousal income, inheritance, that kind of thing. With Mercury, the planet of the mind, entering there on the 6th, it's a very good time for analysis.
I was looking at the books.
Exactly. Looking at the books, reviewing your tax strategy, looking over your investment portfolio. But, and this is a big but, the advice is to do it with a professional.
Oh, don't try to go it alone.
Do not try to be a day trader this week, please.
Why is that? Just because of the general instability.
It's the instability. And also because Mercury in Pisces can sometimes be a little too dreamy, a bit fuzzy. You might see what you want to see in the numbers, not what's actually there. A professional provides that crucial reality check.
And then there's the cautionary tale. I feel like every Leo listening needs to hear this part loud and clear. Do not spend money to impress people.
It's the classic Leo trap, isn't it? You're feeling good, you're the king or queen of the jungle, you want to buy the round of drinks for the whole bar, you want the brand new outfit to match the new job title.
I'm the boss now. I need the gold watch to prove it.
Exactly that. The forecast explicitly says, be conservative with your cash. Keep a safety net. And the reason is that there might be a surprise expense coming your way.
And this is related to partners or the home?
Yes. Remember that Uranus is shaking everything up, so maybe the dishwasher suddenly breaks. Or maybe your partner has an unexpected financial emergency. If you've spent all your liquid cash on a designer jacket to impress your coworkers, you're going to be in a real bind when a real-life expense hits.
That makes sense. And there's a very strict rule mentioned here. Avoid lending money this week.
It's a strict rule. Just say no. The old neither a borrower nor a lender, B, applies so heavily here. The forecast states it clearly. It will lead to arguments.
Oh.
With all the square aspects active, if you lend money to a friend or a partner, it's going to get messy.
Yeah.
The terms will be misunderstood or they won't pay you back on time, and the relationship is going to suffer for it. It's just not worth the risk this week.
So, bottom line, keep your wallet closed, keep your receipts, and maybe hold off on the big celebratory splurge until the check actually clears.
That is very sound advice.
Let's move to the physical body.
Right.
We are talking about a week of extremely high stress, high excitement, high voltage. All of that energy has to go somewhere.
It does. It always finds a way out. And in medical astrology, the sign of Leo rules the heart and the back, specifically the upper back and the spine.
The heart and the back. That makes so much sense for the sign of courage and having backbone.
It's a perfect match. But when the pressure is on, these are the weak points. The forecast notes that the stress from all this career and relationship tension can physically manifest in those areas.
So are we talking about back pain? Heart palpitations?
It could be. Or it could be tension knots in the shoulders and neck, a feeling of heaviness or tightness in the chest, that kind of thing.
So what's the actionable advice here? I mean, we can't just stop the planets from moving.
No, but we can manage our response. And the advice is surprisingly simple, but really effective. Stand up straight.
Posture, seriously.
Posture. It's a twofold solution. One, it physically relieves the compression on your spine, which helps with the back pain. But two, and maybe more importantly, it's psychological.
How so?
Leo is the royal sign. Slumping signals defeat. Standing tall signals confidence and control. It's a biohack, really. If you fix your posture, you can actually trick your brain into feeling more in control of the chaos.
So power posing to survive Uranus. I actually love that. And back stretches are mentioned too.
Oh, they're essential. Keep the spine flexible, the metaphor holds. If you're rigid, you snap. If you're flexible, you can sway with the wind.
We also have to talk about anxiety. February 5th and the 8th are flagged as particularly high anxiety days.
That's the mental manifestation of those square aspects we talked about. The adrenaline is just pumping through your system. The best remedy suggested in the forecast is cardio exercise.
Burn it off.
You have to metabolize the adrenaline. If you just sit on the couch and worry, the anxiety spirals. If you go for a run or hit a punching bag or even just dance around your living room, you use that fuel. But there's a caveat.
Don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it. Remember, the heart is sensitive this week. Don't go run a marathon if you haven't trained for it. Just move enough to release the pressure valve.
And just looping back to the beginning of the week, that full moon hangover on Monday.
Prioritize sleep, especially Monday and Tuesday. You are detoxing emotionally. Your body needs that downtime to process all the energetic upgrades that are happening.
And drink water, the classic flush out toxins.
It's basic, but it's vital. Stay hydrated.
Now, my favorite piece of medical advice in this entire forecast, and I think it's brilliant. The best medicine is laughter.
It is so quintessentially Leo. Leos are ruled by the sun. They need joy. They need light. They absolutely wither in prolonged seriousness.
Watch a funny movie if you feel overwhelmed.
It literally resets your nervous system. When Leos laugh, they reconnect with their core power, their inner sun. If the career stuff gets too heavy or your partner is being incredibly annoying, just turn on a comedy special. Break the tension with humor. It diffuses that Uranian intensity instantly.
It's hard to be angry or scared when you're genuinely laughing, isn't it?
Exactly. It brings you back into the light, which is where every Leo belongs.
Okay, let's open up the toolkit. These are the specifics, the dates, the numbers, the colors that listeners can use to navigate the week a bit more strategically.
Strategy is definitely key this week. You don't want to just wing it.
Let's start with the dates. We've mentioned them already, but let's circle them again. What are the best days for Leo?
February 2nd and February 4th are listed as the best dates.
Now, February 2nd is interesting because we just spent all this time talking about it being the emotional hangover day. Why is it a best date?
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
It's not a best date for, say, launching a product.
Yeah.
But it is a best date for deep intuition and for internal work, for preparing yourself. And February 4th, well, that's obviously the day of the shift. That is the day to launch, to announce, to be seen. That's your action day.
Got it. Now, numbers. We have a list here. 1, 5, 10, 19, 28, and 47. What's the deal with these?
It's a fascinating bit of astrological numerology. 1 is the number of the sun, which is Leo's ruler. It stands for the self, the individual, the leader.
Makes sense.
5 represents the 5th house, which Leo naturally rules.
Yeah.
That's the house of creativity, romance, and fun. 10 connects directly to that 10th house of career, which is so incredibly active this week.
And 19. That one's less obvious.
19 is often associated with success and is the number of the sun card in most tarot decks. So again, it ties back to that solar power. 28 and 47 are about cycles of completion and progress.
So what does a listener actually do with these numbers? Are we telling them to go play the lottery?
I mean, you can, I suppose, no guarantees. But more practically, just notice them. If you have a big meeting scheduled at 10 a.m., take that as a good sign. If you're negotiating a contract and the number 5 comes up in the terms, pay attention to that. Use them as little winks from the universe that you're on the right path.
Data points of destiny. I like it. Okay, let's talk color magic.
The color of the week is gold.
Of course it is. It had to be. It's Leo.
It's the ultimate Leo color. The hex code, if you want to get super specific with your web design or your PowerPoints, is hashtag FFD700.
I love that we have the hex code. That's commitment.
Precision matters. But seriously, the symbolism is about royalty, success, and the sun itself.
So this isn't just about looking pretty. It's about channeling a specific energy.
It's about wearing your armor. Gold reflects. It shines. It says, I am valuable. The advice is to wear gold to channel that natural confidence.
Yeah.
If you are going into that big, potentially chaotic meeting on February 4th or 5th, wear some gold jewelry. Wear a gold tie. Wear something that glitters. It subconsciously reminds you, and everyone else, that you are the king or the queen.
You're putting on the crown before you walk into the room.
Exactly. This is not the week to hide in beige.
Yeah.
You have to shine.
Okay, moving on to our compatibility corner. This is always the spicy part of the forecast. And it looks like we have a very clear winner and a very clear loser for Leo interaction this week.
It's very distinct. There's not a lot of gray area here.
Let's start with the bad news first. Who should Leos maybe avoid this week?
The verdict is Taurus.
Oof. Sorry to all the Tauruses listening. We love you, but maybe just not for Leos this week. Why? What's the astrological reason?
It comes down to the geometry we discussed earlier. Uranus, the planet causing all this trouble and excitement, is currently traveling in the sign of Taurus.
Ah, okay. So Taurus is literally hosting the chaos.
Yes, they are the vessel for this disruptive energy right now. And because Uranus in Taurus is squaring the Leo relationship sector, people with strong Taurus placements represent the blockage. They represent the friction.
The forecast actually says Taurus will seem exceptionally stubborn and difficult.
And that's because it's a speed mismatch. Leo this week is fueled by fire and electric sudden change. Leo wants to sprint. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. They move slow, they're methodical, they want to test the ground before they take a step.
So Leo comes in and says, I have a brilliant idea. Let's change the entire business plan today. And Taurus says, well, let's form a committee and think about this for the next 6 months.
And that will drive a Leo absolutely insane right now. The text says, they are the ones blocking your progress or causing the sudden changes you dislike. The big conflict zones are career versus home life.
So if your partner is a Taurus, or your boss, or a key coworker,
Give them space. The advice is pretty blunt. Avoid working closely with them until the tension eases. You are just operating on completely different frequencies. It's like you're on FM radio, they're on AM. You're not going to get a clear signal. It's just static.
okay, that's a very clear warning. So who is the savior? Who is the best match to help Leos get through this week?
Sagittarius.
The Archers. Okay, why do they get the gold star?
Well, first and foremost, it's a fire sign connection. Leo and Sagittarius are both fire. These speak the same language. It's a language of enthusiasm, of action, of optimism.
And the forecast says Sagittarius will help you see the humor in the situation.
And that is so crucial, looping all the way back to our laughter is the best medicine point. When the career stuff gets heavy and stressful, the Taurus might say, well, you should have planned better. The Sagittarius will throw their head back and say, this is absolutely crazy. Let's go get a drink and laugh about it.
They don't get bogged down. They boost your confidence.
They're naturally optimistic. But more importantly, Sagittarius loves change. Leo is dealing with all this Uranian change energy, and Leo is a fixed sign, so deep down, Leo actually hates change. They want stability on their throne.
Right.
Sagittarius is a mutable sign. They thrive on chaos. They see it as an adventure.
So the Sagittarius friend is the one who's cheering you on, saying, this change is an adventure, let's go, instead of, oh no, this is dangerous, let's be careful.
Exactly. Their adventurous spirit will inspire the Leo to embrace the new direction. And the text notes something really important. They will not cling to you or demand too much.
Which is key because of all that relationship tension we talked about. Leo needs freedom right now.
And Sagittarius is the sign of freedom. They will not fence you in. They'll run alongside you.
So the prescription is, plan a fun outing with a Sagittarius to escape the stress. That sounds like a really solid plan.
It is the best possible way to use that energy.
So, okay, let's try and put all of this together. It's a huge week, a really big week for Leo.
It's a pivotal week, one of those weeks you look back on.
We have the echo of the moon starting things off, then the massive explosion of Uranus in the career sector, which causes all this tension in relationships, and a deep need for, as you said, gold standard confidence.
It's a week where the landscape literally changes under your feet. The map you start with on Monday is not the map you're going to have on Sunday.
And your final word on this, if you could give Leos one thing to focus on, what would it be?
Innovation. Don't fear the sudden shifts. Don't fight them. Try to embrace them. The universe is clearing the path for something new and much more authentic for you. If a door slams shut in your face, it's only because a much bigger, grander gate is swinging open. Walk through it.
I love that. And I just want to leave our listeners with one final thought to mull over this week. We talked so much about public image shifting. We talked about fame and reputation.
Yes, that's the core of it.
So here's the question. If your public image did shift overnight on February 4th, if suddenly that spotlight on you was 100 times brighter, are you actually ready for the version of yourself that the world is about to see?
That is a profound question. Are you ready to actually be who you claim you are on the biggest possible stage?
Something to think about while you're doing those backstretches.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this analysis on Horoscope TV. We really hope this guide helps you navigate all the sparks and the shadows of the week ahead.
It was a pleasure dissecting the cosmos with you.
If you enjoyed this analysis, please make sure to subscribe. That way, you'll get notified the moment our next forecast is available. You really don't want to miss what happens next. Until then, keep looking up.
Goodbye, and good luck, Leos. You've got this.